Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Planet Coaster. We'll be working on another dark ride today. This dark ride, of course, isn't going to be something scary. This one is going to be a tunnel of love. And of course, Valentine's Day just took place here in the States. So I went ahead and took the evening to make this for you guys. It is using a log flume as the boat per se. Now this is gentle and it will probably have the same kind of flaws that, say, Dragon Blood Manor had, in the sense that I don't know how popular this is going to be inside of a park just because of how gentle it is. The final score is about 4.0 across the board there, so it depends where you put this thing, how many people you might get to ride it, but luckily it's super short and the queue time will be super short, so hopefully the turnover rate will make up for the lack of interest in general. So, if you guys want to use it in your park, feel free to do so. It's a little campy, these things tend to be very jakey looking, very kind of thrown together, if not very old. So I don't think I've ever been in a tunnel of love, thinking about it, or really seen one in real life. I know a few do exist, or else there wouldn't be a joke or they wouldn't be featured anywhere. But what we're going to be doing is building, of course, the main hallway that has the interior decoration, and then I am building up some rocks on the exterior that you guys just saw around the coaster station as well. And we're going to start with kind of the first and biggest kind of project beyond the interior, and that is to make the entryway and exit of the ride. Now this is kind of where, in my opinion, some of the larger set pieces are made, and we had to make these hearts to layer in different colors and actually wrap around the log flume ride. And so you can see, using these shapes, we are able to accomplish that to a pretty good degree, I think. Now luckily, later on we can cheat a little bit in our heart making, but these initial ones have to be kind of handcrafted, simply because we need the center of them to be hollow and empty. We can't just slap together one of the half circles onto a diamond and make a heart that way. We are having to, one, make them very large, obviously, and completely out of proportion, and just this eye-catching feature that people can see from a long distance away. They can see what it is, and they know exactly what this ride is going to offer them. A nice, gentle, floating experience with your loved one. Now, of course, the hearts themselves are going to have to change scale and things depending on how we want them to wrap around each layer. So obviously that's kind of a trial and error kind of mentality that we have to go through. Luckily, the super large one didn't end up keeping it that tall. It looked a little weird, and also it happened to be already mainly built for that final wrapping around that, and giving us the tricolor kind of decoration that people are, I'm sure, used to seeing on these types of rides. We're going to be using a dark floor on the interior so that people aren't really drawn to looking down. We're using also a dark roof so people aren't drawn to look upwards while they're in the ride. It'll hopefully look a little darker. The actual station itself, very simple, white railings with accents of red, and that just goes around the nice little box that we set up here. The queue line is short. You guys can make it as long as you want, of course, but really the turnover rate can handle having a short queue line like this. If you have 4 or 5 of these boats and they're constantly loading and unloading, then doesn't matter if your queue line's a mile long or enough to hold just 50 people. You're going to get through them all at a good pace. We're going to also be using some ribbing along the edge, make it look a little bit more like a state fair-ish decoration, because I think that's kind of a little bit more reminiscent of where one of these would be taking place. Of course, we'll also be adding ivy around. I do like my ivy, and bumping the greenery up to the foundation of these structures. Now, luckily, a lot of the details simply going to be on the front and exterior. We're actually going to leave the sides plain. This will also help you guys put that into your own park and make it match the local greenery and terrain that you guys have built yourself. And also save on park count so that we can use that everywhere else. As you can see, we're going to be attaching a waterfall on top of here so that when the guests are outside, they have something interesting to look at as well. I'm going to back the waterfall with some dark colors just to make the blue stand out a little bit more. Now, the way I'm going to do this waterfall is I'm establishing kind of splash points first before going into the main stream and water bulking, I guess, strategy that we go through to make these things. And those splash points kind of are important to establish early on, just so that we can see where they are, for one thing, because as you add these fountain pieces, the waterfalls tend to get pretty busy looking. And, you know, times 10 footage, it looks really weird, but in real time, trust me, I think it looks pretty cool, especially since it has that dividing rock there in the middle. I think that's something I always like to see in natural waterfalls, is that division and the waterfall splitting almost in two on the way down. It's a very cool effect and something I think you guys can hopefully use yourselves. The outside is, other than that, simply going to be using some trees, just a few of them, to make it look a little bit more like the tunnel is going through the landscape rather than inside this building that we made. And hopefully that kind of sells it a little bit. Again, these do look campy. They do look a little low budget. I think in certain areas this one looks a little higher budget, but adding these really kind of Christmas stars and things onto the hearts, and then going back in, making smaller variants of these things, just to layer them up around. You know, you want to have a large variety of these little set pieces. We're even going to trail this one up, color them different colors and shades of red as they gain altitude and escape kind of the entryway there. This one will have the 3 medium hearts as well. However, they won't be escaping. They'll be kind of a little bit more contained in the general shape. There was kind of the quicker heart you guys can do using the square piece and turning it, you know, at a 45-degree angle. You can make a simple diamond, and then you attach the half circles of the same size onto them, and you can make a heart. Now, the bigger the heart, more pieces required, and this technique kind of runs out, you could say. It's not really a super valid technique beyond a certain point. Again, more hearts, more stars, you know, just making this thing look pretty gaudy looking. We'll also be adding some lights because it is a dark ride. Obviously, it should be mainly ridden at night. You know, riding this thing in the day can look a little strange just because the interior is kind of haphazardly thrown together, and also you're missing some of the lighting effects. The lighting effects don't turn on before dusk in this game. 1, to save FPS. 2, because you wouldn't be able to see it anyways. The sun is so bright that it would just wash it off. Gonna try and put some more greenery around the lower end of this little pond that we made. Also some colored flowers, and you know, the yellows and reds representing maybe the roses that you might give people on Valentine's Day. We are missing white, thinking about it. I think I did add some, yes, in the bottom corner there. So the white color is, you know, shown eventually. Now, at this point, we're just going through, trying to cover up some of the empty wall space, and we will be working on just overall decorations. You know, ivy, just to cover up the grayness of this wall, and we're also going to be putting hearts on it just to make it blend in and hopefully work with the rest of it, because we can't really cover it with trees. We can't really texture it with a lot of like wooden details. It's really just gonna have to be a plain looking structure at this point. We'll add also some wooden backings to the large entryway and exits, just so they make a little bit more sense. On the interior, you'll notice our waterfall actually created kind of this column of water on the inside. Now, I didn't discover this until, of course, after I built the waterfall, and I decided to go with it, you know, make a stone basin for it, make it look like it's just coming out of the ceiling, light it up a little bit, make some floating hearts, you know, near the entrance, and make these kind of slightly ajarred ones. And we'll also make some bands of lights. Now, I do want to keep the interior a little bit of a secret from you guys until we write it here in just a moment. So this is where I'm going to stop the speed build, and at this point we'll go ahead and take a look at it in real time, and I hope you guys enjoyed this little section. Alright, so here we are. This is the Tunnel of Love. This is the log flume coming in from the exit there, and then of course we have people rotating out. I did hook it up to the park entrance just so I could kind of see the turnover rate on loading, unloading, and this will also help you find that balance between the amount of cars you'll need to service this amount of people. So it looks like about 4 or 5 is about accurate. We are at, oh, where is it? Number of car, 4. So we have 4 cars in here going through constantly. You know, the queue time's super short, and you could even technically make it faster by pushing the new cart out as a new one arrives. Now, you might get empty cars if you did that, so that's something to keep in mind. The timing of things might have to be adjusted as you go through. Let's go ahead and just start at the station. The station, of course, not a covered station, you know, very simple. I even made it shorter than the default station for the log flume, just to make it look a little bit more fairground, state fair sized. And added a little bit of a dome just because, you know, I wanted some type of element, but it does not block the vision. You know, you can see through this lattice up there, and I think it looks nice. You know, it's kind of a higher end little piece just at the queue line there. As we move forward, you know, this is where people get into and out of the logs, and you have the Tunnel of Love marked by the awesome waterfall to the right. Look at all that water come off of there. Wonder where the water is coming from, but you know, we'll just ignore that little fact for now. We got some greenery, a nice little pond by the exit as they kind of chill and make their way back to the station. I will take a look at the final scores. It's about a 4.04, a 3.0, and a 1.97. So it's okay. I mean, you know, you'll make a little bit of money off of this, I think. And if you have a very family-friendly and oriented park, I think it'll do well for you in general. So, let's do one last little thing before we do hop in for a ride. Let's change to nighttime so you can kind of see the hearts lit up and everything like that. The signs, the text, and what this thing would look like if it was an actual proper dark ride. Even the interior, you can see a little bit being lit up right there. So let's go ahead and hop in and enjoy the bit of ride that we can get you guys. And so there you have it. We're just going to pull into this station at this point and just let it keep running as we basically end the episode here. So, if you guys enjoyed today's episode of Planet Coaster, feel free to subscribe to this channel for more creative goodness such as this. Go ahead and hit that like button. Check out my other builds. You know, we have plenty of episodes here on the channel, and always enjoy your guys' feedback and talking to you about, you know, what inspires you and what inspires me. So, until then, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.